Please enjoy this moment with me as we are ticking off our to-do list. Coving, internal window trim. We have done our gorgeous skirting boards. We have done window refresh and draft proofing. But I'm not just excited about ticking off the to-do list. I am excited about getting to the final one on the list. The final step is getting to some design feature flourishes. Isn't that exciting? Now, we did tell you before, we are going to be using these flutes. And if you've been watching our videos, you will know we have murals on 2 walls of the dining living area, making it sort of a dual aspect display. These flutes is just going to extend these walls and invite you into these enchanting places. Made of MDF means we need to prep them a little bit. Come over into the light, look at that. Obviously this is a test piece that's been around a very dirty area, but you can see that we're going to need to start by sanding them. Join me outside while we start prepping these. Now, the joke's on us, not only because it started raining and we need to work outside with MDF, but also because we bought black panels, thinking that would make our life quicker and easier and simpler. But no, we are going to be sanding and priming, then sanding the primer, then priming and sanding, and then painting. But let's do this. Okay, quick interruption before anybody adjusts their volume, changes headphones or blames YouTube. There was sound here. Our camera had an update and a new AI feature decided it was smarter than us and politely deleted my explanation. Thanks, AI. So, let me explain again. To sand the inside of all these tiny grooves, I'm using just an old credit card, membership card, wrapped in sandpaper because it's thin, flexible and apparently my most versatile tool today. For the curves, a sponge sander works perfectly because it follows the shape without flattening the ribs. The goal here isn't speed, it's getting a smooth finish before we even think about primer. Yes, it's slow. Yes, my fingers are freezing, but future us will be very grateful. This is one of those moments where the camera does not exaggerate. On the left, sanded, smoother, cleaner, and already looking about 10 times more expensive. On the right, unsanded, straight from the machine, rough, fuzzy, and just waiting to ruin your paint finish. Do you ever feel lazy about sanding? And if it is really worth the effort, this is your answer. And we haven't even primed yet.
Before we move any further, we need to cut this. And to do so, I'm going to use my circular saw with some fine blade. And I'm going to be using this rib cut jig that I made a couple of years ago.
Proof once again that when Yoda says this will be useful one day, he means several years later. And yes, he will remind you that the jig works perfectly. A jig is great, but it's not absolutely essential. A straight edge, a level, a guide rail, anything that keeps your cut straight will do the job. One very important tip, always cut these panels from the back side. That way, any tear out happens when nobody will ever see it, and it keeps the saw shoe flat and parallel to the surface. MDF really doesn't tolerate wobbling. If you're using a jigsaw instead, make sure to use a blade that has the teeth facing upwards. It makes a huge difference to the finish.
I think this went very well. Very, very clean cut. Of course, because it's black, you can't see everything. But the point is that the ribs are completely parallel to each other, which is what we wanted to achieve. Right, let's see. Nice. In a perfect world, you would just put it here, stick it to the wall, and that's it. But no, we need to scribe it to follow the wall, and we have a socket down there which we need to cut. So let's do that.
Walls in 1960s houses are, how do we put this kindly, creative. This wall is doing what all 1960s walls do best, pretending to be straight. So Yoris here is scribing the panel using a couple of spacers and a pencil. If you have a proper scriber, even better, but if you don't, this works just fine. DIY is mostly about finding ways around not owning every tool in existence. Once the line is marked, the cut is done with a jigsaw. It's slow, careful work, but it means the panel fits like a glove.
Now, if that one was difficult, this is more difficult because we have the alarm sensor, we have a curtain pole, we have a window sill, and we have a socket all at the same time.
Since this panel has a lot going on, everything needs to be transferred to the back of the panel using whatever measuring tools you have. Square, tape measure, calipers, pencil, but execute it with your most professional attitude. The key thing here is to transfer everything before you cut. Missing even one detail means pulling the panel back off later, and nobody wants that.
That's it. That's the one I need to cut off. I hope I will be able to see it.
Once marked, the cuts are done with the jigsaw, slow, controlled, and with a lot of double checking. The windowsill and the curtain pole cuts need to be perfectly round. An MDF will tear if you rush it. So the process is: start from the back with a Forstner bit, then drill a small pilot hole using the same centre all the way through to transfer that centre point. Then, and this is the important bit, you flip the panel and finish the hole from the front side using the Forstner bit again. That way there's no tear out, no fuzzy edges and no regrets. It takes longer, but it saves you from having to explain later why the hole looks abstract. Ask us how we know MDF does not forgive rushing.
I'm so anxious, Kat. Please fit. I need to trim it a bit. There. Okay. Try number 2. Come on. No. Okay. Well, there. Nice. There. Perfect. It is extremely cold today, and we are priming for 2 reasons. One, so that the paint will stick to them better. Second, because we want the grain of the MDF to be lifted, whatever has not been sanded. It is absorbing it like a sponge. It is drinking it. I did this one, and I had to use this much primer. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Anyway, once we do that, we will need to sand again with a higher grid, 320 or 400 grid sandpaper.
And the sanding begins again, this time with 400 grit, card and sandpaper for the grooves, sponge sander for the curves. Yes, we're doing this outside. Yes, it's cold. No, we did not think this through. Then vacuum everything. Apply the second coat of primer. And yes, sand again, this time with 600 grit. Same process, same tools, same freezing temperatures. At this point, sanding has basically become our cardio. This is the part nobody puts on Instagram, but it's exactly why the final finish looks the way it does.
After an awful amount of sanding, here we are in our new workshop, which is basically our bedroom. Stay tuned to see how we transform this into what we consider a stylish bedroom. Time to reveal the paint that we're using. Ta-da! Black. Everything else in the living room is almost black, but this we chose pure black. Exciting! Of course, as every time we paint anything and we don't want to create a huge amount of mess and bristle line, the rule of thumb is you apply a bit, then you smooth it out.
Now for the tops. We finished the panels off with a nice design feature which created an almost column effect, bringing depth to the murals. These were cut on the router table, which we built in a previous video, check the link in the description, and painted them using exactly the same process as the panels. Because these sit high up and won't be seen, there's no need for anything fancy. A bit of double-sided tape holds them in position, and then pre-drilled holes to avoid splitting, and a couple of screws to lock everything in place. They are absolutely not going anywhere. Also, yes, we're working on the floor. Yep, we are barefoot. Occupational health will love us in the future. Shoes were considered briefly. For fixing the panels to the wall, we're using grip fill, but any suitable adhesive will work. I hold the panel in place while Joris secures it with brad nails. Is it just me, or did I just morph into the mural? The nails aren't structural. They're just there to hold the panel while the glue cures. That's why they're only at the top and bottom. The middle is slightly curved and doesn't need forcing. If you don't have a nail gun, wall plugs and screws will also work. It just takes more time and a bit more patience. After you're done, take a step back and marvel at your creation. Our Scrumpy baby has decided that the nail gun is definitely alive and absolutely dangerous, so he's relocated himself
Alright,
under the
it's safe.
table for emotional
Come on.
support. Once everything is fixed, Joris fills the nail holes using wood filler, applied very professionally, with his fingers. Jokes aside, with all these curves, it's just easier than a filler knife. Of course, we sanded and painted over them later, so the fixings completely disappear. And this is the final result. After all the sanding, priming, sanding again, painting, trimming, cutting, measuring, freezing, and mild emotional exhaustion, we'll let you decide. What do you think? But we might just stand here admiring it for a minute. For a house that started with questionable colours and character, this feels like a great victory. If you've seen the earlier living room videos, this shows you how each and every space can be completely transformed. If you haven't seen those videos, what are you waiting for? Click on the link to the playlist at the end of the video to watch everything from the beginning. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you have made it this far, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more realistic DIY adventures. If we can do it, you can do it.